When I ordered a pair of glasses for my mother, I gave the optician her maiden name, a name she hasn't used in decades since before she got married. A few days later, when I went to look for to pick up the glasses, I gave her correct surname from when she got married. And the optician looked and looked. There was nothing under that name. And then, we finally figure out what happened, that I've given him the wrong name. And this was a huge wake-up call for me because my brain was telling me in the clearest way it was able to do so, that it was exhausted and that I really needed to take a break. Many entrepreneurs and independent workers tell me how much they work. They have to work. So today I'm sharing a personal story about all the different responsibilities that we carry as entrepreneurs and how to think about this reality of ours in a way that might actually be helpful. When I started my company in Luxembourg, I worked as well very long hours, sometimes 10, 12, 14 hours. There was everything to be dealt with, building the reputation and visibility of the company, looking for collaborators, of course, doing prospection, looking for clients, then actually delivering the services to them, invoicing the clients, following up payments, going to networking events. I also had a few interns when I started, and I would take them with me at different events at the American Chamber of Commerce and the British Chamber of Commerce, where I was very active. And of course, I also needed to give them some of my time. So it was really my days were really, really long. And I remember my boyfriend at that time, he would call me to say that dinner was ready, if I could please come home soon. And I would reassure him that I would. And then sometime later, he would call again to say that the food had gone cold. And I would genuinely think how the time has gone. I couldn't believe that the time flew away so quickly. And I felt awful about it every time. However, it still kept happening. And honestly, some nights I would think, what's the point of even going home? It was already 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, and the next day I would have to come back anyway at 8 o'clock because it was the time when we had language camps starting at 9 o'clock. So parents would bring their children already at 8, 8:15, 8:30. So I was thinking, why not maybe buy a bed and have a bed in the office and actually sleep there? Now, you might think, well, it's just for a few years until things stabilize and then I will slow down. And I was thinking this way as well. But actually, what I've learned the hard way is that work never really stops. When it's your own company, there is always something to be done, always something to be checked, always something to be improved. So when that day I gave the optician my mother's maiden name instead of her current surname, I realized something wasn't quite right. I mean, I really loved my job. I was enjoying seeing how my work was helping the business develop. The clients were coming in. It was really a fantastic and exciting time, even though I didn't take in about 3 years any holidays. I was feeling genuinely fine. I didn't realize my message was actually sending me a message that I had to stop, to pause, to take a break that was more than just an afternoon or a weekend. And so what I did is when I went home, I booked right away a flight to Bangkok, Thailand, and the departure was a week later. As entrepreneurs, work doesn't really stop on its own unless, you go bankrupt or you go burnout or sick or worse, you die. So you have to learn, it's up to you as an entrepreneur to really know when and how often to pause, to take a break, and to recharge your batteries before they are completely empty, not after. The warning signs rarely look dramatic at first. In my case, it was forgetting my mother's surname, and it wasn't dramatic. However, it was a very strong signal and very strong message that my brain was sending me about feeling exhausted, about the need to take a break, about a need to prove myself that I can go for a week and that the business will survive. Because what's important when you're an entrepreneur, you have to not only think about the sustainability of your business, but also the sustainability of your career as an entrepreneur. Too often, entrepreneurs and independent workers actually support and sustain their business, but sacrifice especially their health. We're going to talk about this in a different episode because this is something that I'm actually doing my PhD research on. Did anything similar happen to you? A moment where your body or your mind forced you to realize that you'd gone for too long without stopping? Or on the contrary, you actually didn't notice and ended up with a burnout? Please share it in the comments. I'm genuinely interested in finding out more, and I invite you also to join the events that we organize at the Union of Independent Workers, where we share these best practices and our experiences so that each one of us can have a sustainable business, but also be sustainable as an entrepreneur, healthy, happy, and productive. And if you found this interesting, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I share every week a story, something that nobody tells you about entrepreneurship. Some stories are funny, some are rough, but always real. And see you next week. Same channel, same honesty. One more thing that nobody told you about entrepreneurship.